question that the most fundamental research done to date was conducted by the National Research Council for Congress, and it was completed in 2006, and their report is called Fluoridation in Drinking Water. And they looked at well over 1,000 studies, and they've come up with some remarkable concerns. And in that report as well, they are calling for testing to begin on the use of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Now this is a report, a congressional report, calling for the testing to begin on the use of hydrofluorosilicic acid in fluoridated communities. That's quite astonishing.
And you say that because the tests would only be beginning all these decades after we started adding it to the water?
Frighteningly so, yes. And so I think it's high time that we look at this issue very closely. Waterloo brands itself as an intelligent community. It brands itself as a community that puts environment and health first in its policy and decision making. And we do have very intelligent people in Waterloo. So if we can't get to the bottom of this and we can't resolve this problem, then who can? In large part, Canada has just simply followed suit with what we've been told by the United States about water fluoridation and hydrofluorosilicic acid. We owe it to the people to do our own research. We owe it to the people to show them the science that they've been asking for, not simply making claims about science existing or claims about effectiveness of fluoride or the safety of hydrofluorosilicic acid. We really do owe it to the people to show them that science, because if the science is there, this process and this product would sell itself. The science would sell it for us. But what we see instead are people working very hard and putting an awful lot of money and an awful lot of time into marketing and promoting fluoride to people in the absence of science. I find that remarkable.
You mentioned this body of evidence from the National Research Council, a congressional report, 2006, which is something I have not had an opportunity to read myself. But what other scientific evidence backs up your side of this argument?
Well, first of all, I should let you know that our group is in touch with 3 of the co-authors, Dr. Linebeck, Dr. Thiessen, and Dr. Isaacson. And they are quite alarmed at how this report is being mischaracterized by the region. We were in dialogue with them this past weekend. So in answer to your question further, things like 5 to 7 times the incidence of osteosarcoma, which is bone cancer, have been noted in fluoridated versus non-fluoridated communities. It affects males only between birth and the age of 20. And there are no known levels allowed or permitted of carcinogens in food and drinking water. So instead of hearing our Department of Health saying we're looking into it, we hear them saying that's not yet conclusive enough for us to do anything. And that certainly does not even honor the precautionary principle. And in light of the fact that Congress has been told that tests haven't yet begun and should begin, I think we've got to be a little more vigilant than we're seeing our stewards of health and our elected protectors are being about this issue.
Okay. Go ahead, Carol, please.
I just wanted to comment. We have about 40 years of accumulated research in a fluoride journal. There's a lot of research out there. The NRC was just one of many summaries, but the reviews that we've seen over the past few decades indicate that there are a number of people who are susceptible to fluoride toxicity. One of the susceptible groups of the population are people who simply drink more water. You know, the fluoride dose is determined by how many glasses of water we drink in a day. So, you know, your average person may only drink 2 to 3 glasses or 2 to 3 liters of water a day. Or that's what our doctor recommends that we do. But we have people like athletes, construction workers, we have diabetic patients, we have lactating mothers, we have soldiers. They drink anywhere up to 12 liters a day. So if they drink 12 liters a day, they're going to ingest a very great larger dose of fluoride. It's just that simple. And another section of the population that is vulnerable are the people whose kidneys aren't working very well, and that represents about 5% of the population. And what they may drink normal amounts of water, but they can't filter toxins that are ingested. So if they can't filter the toxins, it accumulates in their bodies as well, because we found that a healthy adult, for example, will be able to excrete or eliminate about 50% of the fluoride they ingest, and the other 50% accumulates in their bones and teeth and pineal gland for the rest of their lives. But whereas a child can only excrete about 15% of what they ingest, the other 85% stays in their body for the rest of their life.
Waterloo is unique in the region in terms of fluoridating its water, but it's not a unique community around the world in terms of having this fluoridation process. We know that. So I wonder, are there other groups like yours in other municipalities around North America?
Oh, definitely, yeah. We, here in Ontario, about 70% fluoridate. In British Columbia, less than 4% of the communities now fluoridate, and in Quebec, as of April, will be less than 4% of the communities that fluoridate. In Europe, they've eliminated water fluoridation in all of the countries except for a small part of England and Ireland.
So when you talk about BC now being less than 4%, it used to be higher, and there has just been a changing of heart or of mind or science?
Right. Part of the science that drove BC to stop water fluoridation was the reality that when the sewage effluent containing fluoride and these toxins enters our lakes and rivers, that it was killing the fish. We know that salmon and trout in particular are very, very vulnerable at very low levels. So anywhere there's sewage effluent entering waterways, it's killing the fish.
Okay. We only have a couple minutes left, but I want to ask, and I'll put it to both of you if you don't mind, and that's just that, do you believe that public health is trying to harm you?
Would you like me to take that first?
Sure.
I believe that public health has, in this country, has simply followed suit with what evolved in the United States. I don't believe anybody wishes to do harm, but I do believe if some things have been overlooked, it's very difficult to come back and readdress them without admitting a mistake. So I think it's very important that citizens forgive and that citizens work with our officials to improve the water and the safety of what we're putting in the water without finding blame. However, I should offer that I have been reading transcripts of trials in the United States and some of them in California, and departments of health are saying we have no duty of care. You decided to put fluoride in your water, you voted for it. The American Dental Association is saying we're just but a professional association. We didn't force you to put fluoride in your drinking water, so don't come to us now that you find that there's a problem with it. And this is what's going on in United States courts. So the history has come our way, the litigation is going to come our way, and I thought it would be a wonderful idea for Waterloo to take the lead, show that it's an intelligent community, do the right thing, and avoid the liability. And I think that's a win-win for everybody.
Okay. Carol, in terms of just, I mean, have you ever got the sense that you were deliberately being harmed?
No, I think that it's just that the research is there and people simply need to take the time to read the new research, because there's a lot of new research coming out all the time, and people are busy people, and keeping up abreast of the research is a challenge.
Okay. Just before we wrap up, Robert, you did mention about a vote. There was a plebiscite in Waterloo 26 years back.
26 years
26
ago, yes.
years ago. I anticipate personally another one is not too far down the road now that this issue has found its way back to the front pages and the top headlines. Would you expect the same?
I hope so. What I was hoping is we would temporarily suspend hydrofluorosilicic acid until further review of the science. I think that would have been the more prudent thing to do, the more honorable thing to do in light of the circumstances at hand. I'm hoping that the region will agree to honor the direction from Waterloo, the Waterloo Council, to hold a plebiscite. They don't have to. It's in regional council's hands, and otherwise the citizens will have to amass at least 10% of the electorate to force signatures, to force a plebiscite. So we're waiting to see what the region will decide.
All right. Robert Fleming, Carol Clinch of WaterlooWatch.com. Thank you for sharing information with us tonight, and we will, I'm sure, be in touch as this issue continues to fester and develop.
Thank you, Michael.
All right. Thank you both.